The acolyte now.
The acolyte had the acolyte.
Of the acolyte.
The acolyte. The acolyte.
If you've watched my channel recently on Shorts, you'd know that I shit on the acolyte a lot. So let's have a fair review. Let's have a fair full-length review where I don't have to cram it into 60 seconds. So the acolyte. Was it really that bad? Well, I'm gonna tell you. Start with episode 1 and 2. I'll do these both as one thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, gang, I'm not gonna rewatch this whole thing for the purpose of this video. I'm sorry. If I get anything wrong, please fact check me. Just put it down in the comments if I get it wrong. Thank you very much. I'm not about to go through that again. So episode 1. From memory, this episode wasn't terrible. The first 2 episodes, from what I remember, were very slow paced, not a lot of action. I don't think there was an action sequence in episode 1 at all, actually. Not a lot going on, and just quite dull. But they weren't terrible yet. There was promise for this show still. So the first 2 episodes, I think when I made my review of this series, I gave them a solid 6 out of 10, I think. Because, to be honest, I don't think there's anything wrong with the opening 2 of this season. I think they're quite solid. Except for the fact that they dropped characters for no reason left, right, and centre. But, hey, it's fine. Episode 3, now this is where I think the show just took a turn for the worse. This episode is not the worst, and I think that tells you a lot you need to know about this series. Episode 3, at the time, I thought, you know what, it can't get much worse than this is positive. Oh, was I wrong. Episode 3, the power of one, the power of many. The witches, the choreography, the acting, just in general, I thought this episode was terrible. It just ruined everything there was that we knew about Star Wars as well. The convergence in the Force being compared to a string. Yeah, this episode was just not it at all, was it? Like, it could have been alright. But all of the choreography with the witches doing the hands, oh my god, I never cringed so much. Like, I cringed so hard in this episode. This was a cringer. This was the cringe of the acolyte. But it got worse, which we'll get to later. Episode 4. We're only 2 minutes in. This is going to be a very short video because I don't really have a lot to say because the show's a mess. I would love to review the episodes like properly, but I can't tell you character motives. I can't tell you this. I can't tell you that because they will just change through the show. Now, okay, I'll tell you one. Right, May. By this point in the episode, May has decided that she wants to kill Osha and the Jedi. Bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. Episode 4. The Jedi hire a tracker instead of using the Force to find May. What? Now this is the episode where they just deadass give away that Quimera is the Sith, but hey. And this is the episode where they added Ki-Adi-Mundi, which should in theory make this episode worse, but if I'm being honest, I'm not one of the ones that's going to deep Ki-Adi-Mundi being added to this. His age doesn't make sense. His presence itself just doesn't make sense because he shouldn't be there in the slightest. Like, he's the whole advocate for
possible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
And they added him in. I think this was just to seek the validation of the audience because they knew that this show was going down. I think that this show was sinking before they even just launched it, and I think they knew that, which is why they added a couple of other characters I'll mention later. I didn't mind this episode as much. It was kind of just a long hike and talking for what, like 38 minutes. I've forgotten how long this episode was, but this episode, in my opinion, is like on par with 1 and 2. Like, nothing else happens. It's just talking, it's just dialogue, it's lore, it's pointless lore because it all changes. Yeah, this episode isn't horrendous, but it's not good. Episode 5. Well, I don't know if this is controversial. This is the best episode of the entire show. This episode, we get Quimera throwing down with the Jedi, negging all of them, absolutely smoking them. Quimera was insane. The duel was insane with him and White Lady. I've forgotten her name, but she kind of gets rolled as well. Soul shows a bit of power in this episode. Yeah, the fight's insane. And then just gets carried off by floating butterflies or whatever they were. Like, he just gone and negged an entire Jedi Order, like, patrol. And then he gets carried away by flies. Yeah. Also, he's really intimidating in this episode. Like, Quimera Like, when you see him slaughtering all the Jedi and then he takes the mask off, Quimir looks so intimidating without the mask on in this episode. And I think that kind of vanishes later on when we see the nicer side of Quimir. And Quimir's my favourite character in the show. Quimir, to me, is the only character that doesn't switch up for no reason. He doesn't ever really just, disobey his motives. He doesn't change anything that he wants to do. And he's just smart. He's not an absolute baboon in this series. I mean, you just forget that he can wipe people's minds, but hey, he's fine. I really like Quimir. Props to Quimir's actor. I think they did a good job with Quimir. But they did a terrible job with every other character in this show, which we'll get to later. My favourite episode of the show, I would personally give this one an 8 or a 7. Because, I don't know, I feel like this is a positive for just not the show, but for Disney. They did some of the best lightsaber choreographing they've had in years. This was some of the best choreographed lightsaber fights since the prequels. This is better than any garbage we saw in the sequels. Like, anything we saw in the sequels. This is probably better than Attack of the Clones Anakin versus Dooku. This was good choreography. This is what Disney need to study and look at. Realize that, yeah, we need to do more like this. Because lightsabers actually killed people in this episode as well. But this episode really showed that Disney can make a lightsaber fight. Are they going to do it again? Probably not. While we're on the note of episode 5, Osha switches up again. So episode 4 and episode 3, right? So we got episode 3, May wants to kill Osha, and May wants to kill the Jedi. Episode 4, all of a sudden it's, yeah, no, I'm going to work for the good guys. I'm going to go and hand myself in. Yeah, guys, all good. And leaves Quimir hanging, who is the Sith. Then, at the end, in the middle of episode 5, instead of handing herself in, she runs away. She tries to fight the Jedi. Then, she basically kills Osha, goes off with Soul to try and kill Soul. My mind can't even comprehend this anymore. My mind is just not, it's not fathoming it. It's just not. And before we get to the final 3 episodes, please, if you're more logical than me, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, really help me out. We're trying to hit 1k by the end of summer. If that's possible, it really mean a lot to me, guys. We stream games, Star Wars content, and we occasionally review movies, which will have a new one up soon, so keep your eyes out for that. So, back to the video, episode 6. Oh boy. This one also wasn't bad either. I didn't mind this one. I don't remember a lot about it, even though it's a more recent one. But episode 6, to me, was not as bad because we didn't get any horse shit. We did get May being a bit stupid. We got Soul being a bit stupid and not being able to sense May. But considering what the next episode gives you, and the episode after, I think this episode is probably the second best of the show. Because I really like the chemistry between May and Quimir. I'm just saying it, I do. I don't like that they did the whole sexual tension scene with Quimir just being butt naked walking out of a pool like some Moto type shit, but hey, it happened. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the sexual tension, but other than that, I really liked the bond that they established between these two characters. I really liked the end of the episode. Their stuff was good. The Soul and May stuff wasn't, because Soul just couldn't sense that May was not Osha. Like, how can you do this? You can sense them from miles away in a distant galaxy, but you can't sense that that is not Osha. This is something that doesn't make sense, and they really started butchering Soul as things went on, because he was really Sigma in the earlier episodes of this show. He was him, like, as this show was in its earlier lifespan. This episode, I would also give maybe a 6 to 5. And all of the episodes previous would be... Episode 3 is a 0. Episode 4 is like a 4. Episode 5 is an 8. And this episode is a 5. So episode 7, I'm still mixed as to which is the worst episode of this show, 7 or 8. And I'm leaning 7. The scales have tipped to 7. Because 7 just is free. And in the 180 million budget show, it is the same episode, the same plotline, the same story from a different camera angle. They probably even shot these 2 episodes together. These were probably all shot at the same time using a different camera angle. This is how much I think it was just not needed. We didn't need another flashback with 1 episode to go. But why is this episode bad? Well, first off, the Jedi are using metal detectors to find the Force, as if they weren't Force sensitive. That's the first thing. So they go to the witch village, and the witch is kind of like I've forgotten this Jedi's name. Please leave a comment telling me. Yeah, she like mind controls him. Moving forward, they try to May and Osha. Yeah, they get in a bit of a squabble. May decides to burn down the witch village through brick walls with fire. Someone explain that, please. Still, I don't understand how you burn through brick. So May decides, yeah, we're burning it down, and then instead of being able to save both of them, Sol decides to just save Osha and just let May die, so he can blame it on May. Cheers, Sol buddy, thanks for that. Anyway, we get this really stupid scene as well, where like the witch just decides to emit herself into Osha, like, and she starts I don't really understand what was going on. Sol kills her. Yeah, she's dead now. She didn't need to do this, but she's dead. And then she like mind possesses a Wookiee. A full bloodthirsty Wookiee couldn't kill a Jedi in this position. Explain how that makes sense. And then Jedi Master, like woman that like got killed in episode 1, jumps on him as if he can't shrug her off because he's a bloodthirsty anyway. The bloodthirsty Wookiee is tamed. Then they decide that they're gonna blame the whole fire on Osha. And then that's episode 7. The worst episode of Star Wars I've ever seen in my life. Episode 8. And then this was the toss-up, because episode 8 nearly made it even worse. Episode 8, right? And there's not a lot wrong with this, I don't think, but there's a couple of things that they just add that really just drag this into the dirt. So, let's get to the positives of 8. The action sequences are kind of good. The slow-mo kind of ruins them a bit, though. And that's it. That's all that's good about episode 8. Osha and Quimir, you know, they're on this planet. And who's in the shadows?
Yeah, Darth Plagueis.
Why is he there?
I don't know. Why is he there?
To make my own stamp on the show, because I need to leave a long-lasting effect on this universe that... Yeah, this feels like Thanos. This is just like... When I'm done with your pathetic little planet, half of you still exists. Half of the Star Wars fans have probably left the show by this point. But she just wants to make it worse. We did not need the Darth Plagueis the Wise in the show. Like there's more holes now in Star Wars as a plot than there are in a fucking colander. Like there was nothing like this before. The only plot hole that was in Star Wars was Rey Skywalker. Episode 1 has got more damage done to it than Avengers HQ and Endgame. This is how bad it is. Sol and May, like, they fight. May's like, see you in hell, Jedi. Yeah, her motives changed up again. Cool. The Golfer, for whatever reason, now just sabotages Sol. Does anyone know why? I don't think anyone knows why. But yeah, that was very cool. That happened. Moving on, they go to the same planet where like the witches like all died. There's some cool lightsaber battles. There's a bit of a slow-mo shot that I just don't like. I don't like that slow-mo shots in lightsaber battles. I don't know why. That might just be me. Quimir, total to a Sol, loses his lightsaber. Then May pulls up. Sol's lightsaber just breaks, like, as you do. Then Osha pulls up and is like, oh hey guys. And she pulls up the lightsaber and turns it on, and the Kyber crystal bleeds because she's so angry with Sol, and she kills Sol. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention before this, May's motives change again. She's gone from, oh yeah, no, I love my sister, I need to go and find my sister and help her out. I'm killing her. I'm gonna try and kill my sister. They get into a hand-to-hand fight. Yeah, this kind of sucked. I didn't like this one. The Jedi pull up. They use the Golfer again because, you know, they're incapable of using the Force. Like, Jedi Master P-Face finds Sol on the floor. And they're like, yeah, he's dead. Cool. Quimir forgets that he has the power to wipe memories. Wipes May's memory, leaves her there with severe amnesia. She doesn't even know where she is, probably. The Jedi find her, take her in, and then they ask her all of these questions. And now I forgot to mention that in this episode, there is a senator that knows that a Jedi has died. So now it is just a well-known thing that a Jedi has been killed. It's just universally known. Everyone knows. How does this guy know? No one knows. No one that watched this show knows how this guy knows that this happened. There's got to be a mole on the inside or something. But we'll move on. So then, they get May, they ask all of these questions, and we don't know. She doesn't know the answer to them because she's got amnesia. Then we get the scene of P-Face just shitting on Soul's legacy, making him seem like a bad dude. Because, like, he had to do that. He had to kill the witch because the witch was going to kill Osha, and he wanted Osha to be a Jedi. What was so bad? He killed the witch, then he's now a bad guy. I know that P-Face didn't probably want this, but to cover up, she had to. She had to cover up that there was a Sith doing the rounds. Because otherwise a Phantom Menace is just completely wrong. But it is still completely wrong because there's no peace in this time. We know that there's no peace. Everyone knows that there's no peace. It's not just a Jedi cover-up now. The Senate know this. And then at the end, you know, everyone knows that there is just this guy running around killing Jedi. But do you know who doesn't know, guys? Master Yoda. Yeah, the most highly thought of Jedi in the Order, on the Council, does not know that there is Jedi dying. But he could sense Order 66, and he could sense Anakin killing a bunch of random hillbillies in Tatooine. I guess he doesn't know. As for positives of this show, I think they had some really good choreographed sequences. I'm being honest, I think they did. I think it's probably the best that Disney have done. The bleeding of the lightsaber was really cool. I forgot to mention that as an episode 8 positive. This was a really cool thing that they did. I really enjoyed this. Soul was a positive until the last 2 episodes. And Quimir is a positive. That's about it. That is all I can name for you. The cinematography sucks. The characters suck. There's not much character development in the show. It's just back and forth. They kill all of the characters in the 5th episode, so there's not a lot of time to bond with them anyway. Dialogue sucks. May sucks. Osha sucks. P-Face Woman sucks. The plot is just... I don't know. It really is just terrible. It has put so many holes in the Phantom Menace's plot, it's unreal. So that is my thoughts on the Acolyte episode by episode. If you guys agree, leave a like. If you don't, leave a comment telling me why, and you can dislike the video. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, it would really help me out. And if you want to see a video where I've ranked every single Star Wars lightsaber battle on a note of good choreography, click up there. But anyway guys, have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.